Hello and welcome to Newsbreak at 7. I'm Raghav. Our top southern political focus this evening. Ever since its worst ever performance in a state assembly election in the assembly elections of 2023, the Janta Dal Secular, which won just 19 seats and was the erstwhile kingmaker regional party of the Gowdas of Karnataka, is struggling to stay relevant. While former Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy is seen as warming up to the BJP and has been working closely with the National Party in the Karnataka Assembly and specifically with former Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, the national leadership of the BJP doesn't seem keen on the JDS. The Congress has accused it of conspiring with the BJP to break the ruling party. So is the JDS losing its relevance? What's the road ahead? I spoke with JDS patriarch and former Prime Minister Deve Gowda earlier in the day, and he told me that the JDS will have no allies as it fights its way back all by itself. Joining us now is former Prime Minister H.D. Deve Gowda. Sir, which way is the JDS going? There are reports that you're going left, some say you're going right. Has the JDS hit a dead end, sir?
There is no question of going left or right. We are with left parties from last 25 years in Kerala. We are sharing the power. When we got the mandate, when you don't got the mandate, we'll sit in the opposition. Except Kerala and Karnataka, where is JDS?
So there are reports that your son, Mr. Kumaraswamy, is having a close relationship with the BJP. They are working together. Some reports say that the BJP, though High Command, doesn't seem to want to have an alliance with JDS.
So this type of impression is carried by some political opponents. Kumaraswamy, on his own program, Pancharatna program, Jaladhara program, he is going to fight the battle with these 19 MLAs and 7 MLCs, including MP, myself. Collectively, we are going to work together to bring back the party to power.
No alliance with anybody.
Nothing doing.
There is a fear that there are different factions within the JDS. Are you fighting a real battle for survival? Is it?
No. There is no faction at all. We are all together, all the 19 MLAs and 7 MLCs, all will be together. There is no group, and we will work together. And see here our senior leader, JD Deve Gowda, was a former minister. So a committee has been formed.
Okay.
There is no question. We are going to strengthen the party and we will fight the parliament election on our own.
You have seen many years of politics. Is this the most difficult position that the JDS is in? Is there a fight for very survival of the party and the identity of the party?
This type of issues, we have crossed several bridges.
Okay. All right. And as far as the opposition is concerned in terms of party?
We have crossed several bridges where it has been damaged and stood firmly to keep the party intact, whether it is 15 members or 20 members or 50 members. From 1983, we next day formed the government with 18 BJP MLAs. From that day, the JDS is trying to keep its identity, and we are going to see the identity of JDS will be kept intact, and we will fight the future
Deve Gowda there, as categorical as ever, but is the party's future that categorical? What's the road ahead for the JDS? Remember, in that interview, he refused to take a strong commitment on what the party's position will be when it comes to the national opposition parties on the Manipur issue, demanding from the Prime Minister. So, what's going to be the road ahead for the JDS? Joining us this evening, Professor Sandeep Shastri, one of Karnataka's finest political experts. Also, Professor Janta Dal Secular, who understands the JDS inside out. My first question to you, Professor Sandeep Shastri, what's the road ahead for the JDS? Do they still maintain any semblance of relevance in Karnataka at the moment?
Veera, I wouldn't ever write off the importance or role of JDS in Karnataka politics. Those who have written it off in the past have seen it bounce back with great vigor. But one thing is very clear from the statement which we heard from Mr. Deve Gowda just now, that this talk of an alliance between the JDS and BJP was seeing no meaningful takeaways and was seeing no logical direction. And it was largely, I believe now, a media alliance that was being talked about. The JDS clearly wants to recover its space in Old Mysore region. And they are in no hurry to do it because remember, JDS as a party has invariably focused on the assembly elections, and save in 1996, it has not really focused on Lok Sabha elections. So Mr. Deve Gowda must be saying we have time till the next elections to build up the party. But then Veera, one more point. It will be interesting to see how the post Deve Gowda leadership within the party were to look at the issue. Mr. Deve Gowda is very clear that he wants the party to go alone, but I'm not too sure whether that is the same stand of his two sons, because we have seen in the past that the two sons have taken very distinctly different positions on which party they would like to ally with. So at the moment, it seems to be no alliance, but I would not be saying the same.
Who knows?
The same degree of authority when it comes to the future. But I think JDS as a force, I think will continue to be relevant in the politics of this state as a distant third force for the moment.
Yep. Politics can take many different turns. Let's just listen to what Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, and he made a very strong allegation. He says that the JDS and the BJP are together trying to break the Congress and the conspiracy is being hatched in Singapore. Let's just listen to what he had to say before I get Janta Dal into this conversation.
No, some of the leaders of some BJP leaders and from other JDS leaders were trying to have some pact what about the information. They wanted to, they could not have a meeting here or in Delhi. So some ticket bookings and everything was been going on there, which enemy becoming friends now. That is going on. Just I have a little information on it. I don't know whether it will go on or it may not go on. But we are tracked with all this type of political understandings. Congress party is, we have to watch everyone.
You heard that, Professor Janta Dal. What's your take on the JDS as far as the road ahead is concerned? Can it ally with one of the parties? I mean, the national BJP leadership seems very lukewarm to the JDS at the moment.
If the BJP is being lukewarm, it only means that the Deve Gowda side of the party, which wants to fight it alone and think of any possible alliance post-election, is the stronger voice within the party. Because if it knew that the Kumaraswamy side of the party, which looks like from all media reports and some of his statements that there's a greater openness to tying up with them before the elections, were actually there, then why the lukewarm attitude? But this is just my surface reading. But there is genuinely a difference of opinion within the party. I think the grassroots party workers, I believe, are not in favor of going with the BJP because it's a question of their grassroots survival as it were, as a separate constituency, as a separate, presence, which makes it difficult for them to hold on to if they come together for the elections. So there are two possibilities. One, they fight the elections on their own and think of who to go with, whether the NDA or the India formation afterwards. So that's what I see happening, because really, Veera, if there was a pre-poll alliance, they may not get very many seats. They may lose the party workers they have in many places. That's too big of a risk.
Quickly, Chandan, what's the relevance of the JDS in a parliamentary election? In a assembly election, yes, one can understand. What's the relevance of the JDS in a parliamentary elections that we are heading into? Quickly.
Well, from the India formation side, every extra seat is helpful. So if even JDS got 2 seats, it would add up in their bid to cobble up this big coalition against the BJP in post-election. I don't know. So every seat is important. But Professor Sandeep Shastri is right. JDS has never really struck it big in the Lok Sabha tally, except in 1996. And even now, if it got 4, it would have done very well. But it's not independent of the assembly reality.
Right.
So it has to take something seriously.
Right.
And frankly, Veera, after a poor showing this time, imagine if it did well in the 4 districts where it has a good presence, that would be a restoration of confidence of sorts. And it's something not to disregard in the analysis.
The road ahead to relevance is alone, you say, Janta Dal Gowda. Let me just get Professor Sandeep Shastri quickly on as far as this, the last word on this conversation is concerned. Do you see Karnataka evolving into a bipolar state between BJP and Congress? We've had this conversation before the elections as well. But do you see it decisively moving forward in that direction? Or do you still believe, as you hedge your bets, JDS still could claw its way back into some kind of relevance in the state?
Veera, I have always maintained that since 1983, Karnataka has had a bipolar competition with a distant third player. That who becomes the distant third player and who comes into the bipolar competition may have changed when Janta Dal and BJP switch sides. And whenever we have had a assembly with no clear majority, it has only been a transition phase. So I'm one of those who strongly believes that a bipolar politics in Karnataka is strongly entrenched with a distant third player. And if you look at electoral politics of Karnataka, be it assembly or parliament, you will see this trend very clearly visible. A bipolar competition with a distant third player. 2004 saw a change in who were in the bipolar competition. It shifted from Congress versus Janta Dal to Congress versus BJP. The distant third player, which was earlier the BJP, then became the Janta Dal as the distant third player. So Karnataka politics has always been a bipolar politics with a distant third player.
But if the JDS actually recovers
How
its
distinct
previous
is that
strength, it won't be bipolar in that sense. So it's going to be a chunky situation.
Correct. How distinct is the third player?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. How distinct is the third player would be the question. I'm really out of time. I'm really sorry, Chandan. I know that there are all right. You're saying it may not remain that way. There are internal fights as well.
Just 10 seconds. Yes, it will be tripolar, but tripolar for me, whenever in the past, has been a phase of transition.
No, but we seem to be in a
phase of transition. You say. Let's see how this plays out.
The transition has been happening for 20 years.
We'll have to wrap this We'll have to transition to other stories. I'm really sorry, Chandan. We have to wrap this up right now, but we'll keep this conversation going. Obviously, we'll track the twists and turns in Karnataka politics. Thank you so much, Professor Sandeep Shastri and Professor Janta Dal Gowda, for joining us here on this conversation.